Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Nightcap. I am your favorite Unc, Shannon Sharpe. He's your favorite number 85, the route runner extraordinaire, the Binger Ring of Fame honoree, the Pro Bowler, the All-Pro, the legendary. You know him from Samo JUCO, to Oregon State, all the way to the Bengals, where he made a name for himself, and from Liberty City. That's Chad Ochocinco Johnson, but you can call him Ocho. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. And guys, make sure you go subscribe to the Nightcap podcast feed wherever you get your podcast from. Every subscriber counts. And remember, you are the reason we enjoy a level of success that we've enjoyed thus far. Thank you. With no further ado, we got no more introductions to make. Here he is, the current world's fastest man, Olympic gold medalist in the 100 meters. He's a three-time 200-meter champ at the World Championship. He anchored the gold medal winning team in the World Championship last year. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Noah Lyles. Noah, how you doing, bro?
Feeling good.
That race, leading into it, you ran your fastest time leading the Diamond League meet. I think you ran 9.81.
Yeah.
You know, Kashane Thompson has run 9.77, and everybody's talking. That's the man to beat. That's the man to beat. And you had never run sub 9.8. To run it in the finals when you absolutely had to have it. Tell me, what was your strategy going into that race, and how were you able to pull it off?
To be honest, I had many strategies. They all kind of, were thrown out the window the closer and closer we got to the finals. In the first round, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna work on my first 60. I'm gonna get out. But I have ADD. So my brain is working on overdrive. It's like, well, we could get out easy and then hit it hard, or we can get out hard and then shut it down, or we can run fast all the way. And the problem was I thought too much, and then I underestimated my competition. It's like, nope, see, now you messed up. I'm like, all right, I need to calm my brain down. I needed to get it set on one goal. So we get to the semifinals. Now I'm like, all right, aggression, mindset, power, everything like that. And it produced, a really good time, 93. It tied again my second fastest time, which was my PR before London. So I'm like, all right, I'm good, but I feel I can go even faster. I didn't want to get beat, so here I am getting second in the semis. I'm like, what's going on? So my therapist calls me and she's like, you're running with aggression, you're running with a Noah that is not you. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's not me. That's an older way of thinking. That's just not how I run. It's like, you need to run free. Need to run with no pressure. Just go out there and run. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna just run. And she said, if you control the crowd, you control the race. And I know, I'm like, well, shoot, that's how I do. I'm a showman. That's what I do. All I gotta do is be Noah. Right. If that's all it takes, I'm gonna win the race. So we're getting out there. And I'm just like, just be me. We get out there and, they're doing the intros and, Kashane comes out. Kashane, he ends up yelling. And I'm like, oh, hold on. That's me. That's what I do. But I didn't hold him for it. I liked it, though, because I love to see more personalities come up than just look at the camera, say hi, walk out. It's like, nah, bring that energy. Like, get me excited to run. So, there's another YouTube video that NBC put out where it's like, you can see us in the back in the car room, Fred on the side, banging on the walls, like, let's go. Kashane's doing his yelling. I'm over here singing Dreams and Nightmares. I'm like, yeah, this is an Olympic final. This is an Olympic final. So, I go out, I'm jumping around, I'm running past the cameras, I'm yelling at the crowd, and they over here like, yeah, excited. I'm like, yeah, this is my race now. And, from that point on, it was just repeating, God got me, God got me, God got me. Because at this point, I've done everything that I need to do to win this race. Everything that I needed to do has been done in months in advance. We're already here. Now it's just a believing in myself that it's going to get done. And it's not about running fast times. It's about running to win. The times will come when you run to win.
No, I think you got a lot of pushback. You run the World Championships last year, and unprompted, you said you see these hats and they have world champions on it, which we've always called the basketball players. We've always called the NBA, the NFL, the Super Bowl champ. We've always called MLB. We've always called them world champs. I think that's where a lot of the blowbacks, because it seemed like one of America's best athletes was taking a shot at some of the America's best athletes. And I think it kind of put you under the eye, because then basketball players said what they said. Some football players chimed in also. And then for the first time, I actually saw some of these athletes like openly rooting against you. I mean, you might not. I mean, something you would probably never see in another country. You're not going to see the Dutch, somebody from Dutch, rooting against Femke or rooting against Karsten, he's from Norway, or Ingebrigtsen. We're not going to see that. Do you think you brought some of this on yourself with that comment, or what were you hoping to accomplish by making that comment?
I think the last question that you asked, what was I trying to accomplish by making the comment, is the most important one. Everybody sees the clip. Everybody sees the thumbnail. Everybody sees the 16 seconds. But did anybody decide to ask, what was the question that was asked to me? The question that was asked to me is, how do you feel knowing that when you go back to your own country, unlike these other countries that celebrate their athletes on such a humongous stage, when Taboho won his gold medal, he went back to a stadium filled with 30,000 people celebrating.
Yes.
When I showed up back home on my flight, of course, some people recognized me, and I'm very thankful for that. But there was no 30,000 people. There was no limo driver ready to take me home. There was no bus waiting. If I had my mom, I had my pops, and they were ready to take me home, and I was ready to go to bed.
Right.
There was none of that. There was none of that. But the difference, I can understand the difference, because we have a different way in America of seeing our sports. The problem that I had was you were given the title of a world champion to people who weren't facing the world. That's where I drew the line and said that's hurtful, because you already have those, but you're giving the title to people who aren't doing that. Nothing wrong with being a national
let me ask you
champion.
This.
They are great champions. They just didn't have the title.
Is Nikola Jokic one of the best players in the world?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who that is.
Okay, Luka Doncic.
I've heard.
Is he not one of the? Okay, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, he's okay. What's the question? Are they good? They're great. They're great players. Great players.
But they're world players. They're not from America. And the problem that you're going to run into, Noah, is that Botswana doesn't have a whole lot of athletes to celebrate, as opposed to Americans. If you look at probably Kenya and Ethiopia and Sudan and some of these other countries, the Dutch, the Norwegians, we got NBA, we got MLB, we got football, we got baseball. And so, teams, they have parades. Nobody is getting, for the most part, even Michael Phelps. I don't know if did they have, how many people showed up at M&T? I don't know if Michael Phelps won 8 goals. I don't know if he had 30,000 show up. I know they might have had a big contingent cheering him on. I just think that the difference is, Noah, is that in a sport, in a country like Botswana, or you're talking about a country, he's their hero. He is to Botswana, he's LeBron James.
Yeah.
That's what he is to Botswana.
Yeah. I agree.
Usain Bolt, what he is to Jamaica, he's their Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I agree.
And when Michael Jordan was in Chicago, they showed out for the parade, but probably when he went back to Wilmington, where he was from, ain't no 30,000 show up for it.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100%. I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting the parade. I'm just showing that the difference of how our sport is shown because the question that was asked again was, how does it feel knowing that when I go back home, it's not with somebody like Taboho is getting when he goes home. And again, I know what it is. I know we have, football and basketball, baseball, golf. Those are all above my sport. I know that. I'm cool with that. Of course, I want to make that better, but I understand that. Again, the only problem I had was you have world champions, but you're giving the title to people who aren't facing the world
champion,
and you're giving them the title of world champion. That's the only thing.
No, can you provide some context? There's this Time magazine story that came out that revealed that while you were negotiating your contract with Adidas, they offered you an invite to a shoe release for Anthony Edwards. And I think everybody's read the quote. Can you provide context for what transpired? I mean, we don't need to get into negotiations But what transpired is what's being reported. How accurate is that?
So what was going on at the time? I was in negotiations for over a year with Adidas to get the contract. Them offering me, to go to Ants for shoe release had nothing to do with the contract. They just thought it would be cool that I would show up as one of their Adidas athletes. Unfortunately, they asked for it very late. They asked for it at probably about 2 weeks in advance, and I was already scheduled to walk in a Hugo Boss show in Milan, which was a day and a half before his shoe release. So at first we were trying to figure out ways that we can get there, and it was like, yeah, this isn't good. This isn't gonna work. There's no way that I'd be able to walk and then get on the flight and have energy enough to be able to go to this event, because it wasn't just a shoe release. They were also going to, have us go to a Little Baby concert, and we were going to be just signing autographs. It was going to be a lot. And I was already drained from, flying over, already doing the fashion shows, doing the walks, going to other events. I was already drained. I'm like, there's no way that I'd be able to physically do this.
Well, I know. I agree with you. Flying overseas, and then it's someone that's flown overseas and then come back, you're kind of jet lagged. But you probably should have left it as that. It's that the other stuff where you get into trouble, where people is picking apart what you said, is because, like, hold on, I'm the world champ and he's getting this, and you have the wherewithal, the forward thinking to see that he's going to be special. And why can't you guys see that with me?
Now, I will say, being very vulnerable in this moment, I felt very unheard at that moment with Adidas.
Okay.
I felt very unheard. And and to give an example, people do a lot of things. What do you do when you feel unheard? You try to shout louder.
Yes.
And I felt that I've had many conversations trying to shout, and it hadn't gotten through.
Right.
And unfortunately, that was one of my moments where I felt I had to shout to even get them to look my way.
Okay.
In that Time article. And because they asked me if I wanted to take it out. And I decided I was not going to, because I had to stand on my decision at that moment. I felt that I had to shout to get even a conversation about what I wanted to happen or what was going on at that point.
Right. I mean, that's
to move forward. Could it be handled better? Probably. Was there more ways to do it? Probably. But in that moment, I felt that I had taken so many steps in other ways that I had to shout at this moment.
Do you regret your decision not to have that removed from the article?
I don't believe so at the moment. This conversation could be had in a year and I could have a different answer. At this moment, I do not feel so. Because I still feel if I did not shout at that moment, I would not have had a preamble to, oh, he is serious. And when I said it at the Olympics, they knew it was still on my heart.
In track and field, there have only been two men that's ever had a shoe. Michael Johnson and Usain Bolt. Two.
Yeah.
Michael Johnson had the world record in the 100 and the 200, and he don't know anything but gold medals. I think he's a four-time world champ in the 400, two-time world champ in the 200. He's a two-time champ in the 400, and he's a one-time champ in the 200. And I just say Usain Bolt. I don't need to say anything else. Yeah. Why do you believe that you deserve to be in that category with those guys, looking at their accomplishments, not to say you're not done yet, but looking at their accomplishments, looking at yours? Why did Noah Lyles believe he deserves a shoe?
The reason I believe it is twofold. One, we look at Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson he's a track guy through and through. That's all. He's track, and he loves track, and that's what he decided his lane was going to be. I don't feel that in his time period we had the social media, we had the marketing, the self-marketing to be able to push it forward. Of course, he had Nike, and Nike was doing very well, but they wanted to keep it. I don't think that they really wanted to keep pushing it, and I don't know if Michael Johnson wanted to do the work or not to market it as well. No, I don't know how much they had in their contract to keep that shoe alive. That's where I'm going to leave it with that. The time period wasn't right. With Usain Bolt, the CEO that actually gave Bolt, his shoe, is now with Adidas. And I've had conversations, and I think Usain was very excited in the moment, and then he got excited about something else when it was time to do, the underground work, the marketing, the commercials and stuff like that. And that scared a lot of companies, I think, in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Usain is Jamaican. The marketing in the US is different. I feel in the US it turns out when it comes to marketing. Entertainment and marketing is the US's bread and butter. We know how to do that. That's just our thing. So now that I'm an American in a time period where self-marketing is very popular and it's very, it's strong. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody's looking at it. They want the brand. They want the identity. A person's identity is more marketable sometimes than a brand at times. And now we see them as brands. I know that I can do the work. I know that I can get the medals. But at the end of the day, I think that it comes down to, guys, you now have the title of the world's fastest man. What do you do with that title? You tell them, don't you want to have the shoes of the world's fastest man? Don't you want to put those shoes on your feet? I'm wearing the same shoes of the world's fastest man. It's going to make me so fast. It's the same thing.
But the shoes that the world's fastest man wears track spikes.
No, he only wears track spikes on the track. But he trains in tennis shoes. And when you see him out, he's in tennis shoes. And when people go out and run marathons, they wear tennis shoes. And when you're in the gym, you wear tennis shoes. Guess what? You're wearing tennis shoes. Everybody wears tennis shoes. And the only reason that you don't see more marketing for tennis shoes and individual runners is because they just haven't done it.
Tyreek say he wants some of you, Noah. I can't believe you know who Tyreek is. Don't do that, Noah. You know who Reek is. The cheetah.
I'm gonna be honest. I forget his name all the time. I'm gonna be honest. If it's not about track and it ain't about League of Legends, I got what
he said come get some.
Hey, I'm gonna put it like this. Tyreek is just chasing clout. The man, anytime somebody fast comes up, he says he wants to race him. If he really wanted to race people, he would have showed up like DK Metcalf. And the man raced in the 60 meters this year in the Masters division. The man dodged the smoke. I don't got time for that.
Reek, he calling you out. He calling you out.
Hey, you know what? Let's get a couple. Hey, let's see if we can get some sponsors. Would you be willing to race Reek in a 60 or 100 if we got some sponsors to put some money up?
He's challenging me. We're racing in 100. We can race if he's serious about it. If he's truly serious about it. I'm not talking about you just talking on the internet and you ain't actually coming to me and talking to my agent and saying, let's set something up. You are seriously about it.
I like that.
You'll see me on the track.
He's a two-time Olympic champ at 1,500 meters. He's a one-time Olympic gold medalist at 800 meters, and he won the silver medal in the 800 meter in the Paris. He swam at the University of Florida under the great Anthony Nesty, and he saved the men. Because had he not won a gold medal, there would have been the first time since 1900 no individual man had won a swimming gold medal. Welcome to the show, Bobby Finke. Bobby, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
And over 100 years, had you not did what you did, the men would have been shut out of the individual goals. Did that add pressure to you?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm someone who personally likes reading all the comments and everything. So on the swimming's like major news site, I was going through like every article, reading every comment and everything, and like there's a bunch of comments in saying like Bobby better be listening to like Lose Yourself on repeat right now or something because he's the last chance. I knew about the record going in before. I knew how hard it was going to be. And, I'm just fortunate enough I was able to get it done because I did not want my name attached to that for that to go down. So, yeah, we got it done now.
Are there any mental strategies that you go through to prepare for a high competition race, especially like for one representing an entire country? You're over in Paris. It's the Olympics. None of us have medaled, and all the pressure and the eyes are riding on you. Are there any mental strategies that you do? Any superstitions?
Yeah. I don't know if I call them like superstitions for me. But everything is really in just how I prepare for the race. Especially over at the Olympic Village, the I don't know if you guys have heard, but like the food was very controversial a bit. Food wasn't the best,
Right.
but I had so much pasta.
Right.
Just in the days leading up, I was carb loading like crazy, and I hate pasta right now. Like oh my god. But like in the day leading up to that 1500, a lot of it was motivation on how angry I was after the 800 when I lost.
Right.
Because a silver medal is great and everything. I understand that, but like for me deep down, I was pissed after that race because I didn't win, and I needed that kind of fire in me to be motivated for the 1500 because I want to stand on top of that podium. I want to hear the national anthem. I haven't heard it much all meet, and I need to hear it, and I need to do it for our team. And you know, behind the blocks, I was just telling myself to stay calm, but not like the power is in you, but like you know what to do and you know how to swim. You've done it 100 times. It's really a whole mental game you're having with your brain. It's just telling yourself that, you know, you've done it, you can do it again. It's nothing new to you.
When you look at the situation and when you broke the world record, you really and you didn't get normally when people break world records, they're getting pushed. You finished 4 seconds ahead, but I mean, what the hell? I mean, it's like you had a motorboat and they had paddles, and so I'm watching you and I'm seeing your stroke and it's so smooth. When you're swimming in a race of that distance, obviously, you know, you got the 50 meters, you got 100 meters, you got the different strokes. But when you're 1,500 meters, there's a lot of time for you to be in your own head. What are you thinking about when you're swimming 1,500 meters?
Yeah, so I normally race my competition and I'll start behind them for the most part, or I'll stay right next to them. So I like the 100, the 200 when I had like a body length lead, I was kind of like, what the hell's going on right now? Because it was just so abnormal for me. But I could kind of see the scoreboard a little bit when I was racing, and on the scoreboard they would show the world record line. So I was kind of mentally racing that the whole time, and I was mentally racing. Yeah. So I saw the world record line like 3 times during the race, and that kept me going in the race so hard. But also like I'm very aware of like what is going around me. So I knew Greg Polcinari, the Italian, who was in lane 5, 2 lanes over. I knew he started to inch up on me a lot. And same thing with Daniel Whiffen, the Ireland representative who won the 800 previously. I knew he started to catch Greg a bit. I was kind of peeking over there, but I knew as long as I stood or stay ahead of Greg, that I would be able to stay ahead of Dan. So I was kind of keeping it that mental. It's just like, just stay ahead of them. I don't have to be too far away from them or like drop back to be at their pace. I just needed to stay right ahead of them. Right. And that was really a big mental game for me. It was just trying to, you know, be aware where they are, even though they're behind me, make sure I have a safe distance from them. So that's really what I was focusing on.
Bobby, I just wanted on behalf of Shay Shay Media and Nightcap, we're very proud of you here. I know my subscribers are proud of you. I know the U.S. is proud of you. And to show you how proud we are of you, I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that in your screen? Hold on.
Kinda.
Can we break? Hold on. We're gonna bring it a little closer. We're gonna make sure you can see this.
I can take my glasses off.
Okay, he's gonna zoom in. My camera guy gonna zoom in. We're gonna zoom it in. We're gonna make sure you see this. Can you see that, Bobby?
God. Oh my God.
Yeah. So we got your information. So by the time.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute. Wait, whoa. Bobby, now in order to get that in its entirety, when you come back to Florida, we have to race 800, 1,500, whatever you want to do.
I'll do whatever you guys want. I'll do anything.
Hey, if you can beat me, it's all yours.
Oh my God. Wow.
Congratulations, though,
Take
man.
your Wi-Fi,
Congratulations,
get us something
Congrats.
nice.
No,
But I'm proud of you, bro.
Buy some McDonald's.
Congratulations, what you've been able to accomplish thus far. Stay healthy. Good luck down the road. I mean, the Worlds are next year. And then in 2 years after that, you got the Olympics in LA. So we look forward to following your career. Continue success, bro. And congratulations again on all your accomplishments.
No, you got I don't even know what to say. You guys, oh wow, you guys are amazing. Yeah, Jesus, holy shit.
Hey, Bobby, you know,
thank you guys
just
so
thought about?
much.
Bobby, you write in Clearwater, right?
Yeah.
You know, I live in Miami. How far are you from me?
About 4.5 hours.
Oh, so you more like Orlando down that way,
Near Tampa.
Near Tampa?
Yeah, I'm near. It's just because sorry, I'm just my brain. I think it's just because of the way you have to get to Miami.
Right.
Because you gotta like not straight through the Everglades, but you have to go to like Naples first, and then
Naples, and then go. Yeah. All right. We'll catch up. We'll catch up. We gotta get this.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are already legendary in your sport, but you guys are legendary for this. I can't thank you guys enough. You guys
are success and enjoy. You know, and I appreciate you stopping by this morning. We appreciate you stopping by Nightcap this morning, and look forward to talking to you down the road, bro.
Yeah, no, thank you. I appreciate everything you guys have done for your sports, and then obviously for the Olympic Games this time, especially for the athletes. Yeah, it is a dream. This is a dream, and you guys are well a part of it. And thank you you so much.
Have a good one. We have a very special guest joining us, the reigning 200-meter Olympic champ. She's a member of the winning World Championship 4x1. She ran a blistering third leg. They qualified this morning with the fastest time, even though they had a little hiccup between TT and herself with the exchange. They're going to correct that. Going to win another gold medal. We're going to talk about her possibly running a leg on the 4x4. Welcome us, ladies and gentlemen, Gabby Thomas.
Gabby, yay!
I forgot to mention she also has a undergrad degree in neurobiology, and she has a master's degree in epidemiology. Is that correct? And she's currently employed at the in Austin, where she serves underprivileged women. Is that correct also?
Yeah. I volunteer at a healthcare clinic where I provide healthcare services to people who don't have health insurance.
That's dope.
Let me ask you this.
That's dope,
How much pressure, because you got the bronze at the last Olympics, you got the silver, if I'm not mistaken, at the past Worlds. You're the face of this big ad with Toyota. You're the face of this. Now, Shericka Jackson, she steps out. That's even because there was pressure on you to do better than what you did at the last Olympics. Now Shericka has withdrawn. Now there's a ton of pressure. We had Justin Gatlin, who's a world champion and an Olympic champ. We had Michael Johnson, a world champ and an Olympic champ. He said sometimes the things that can weight an individual and an athlete down is expectations. How much what type of burden were the expectations? You're the face of this Toyota ad. Okay, Gabby, you're out there. Okay, we see you. You better bring home gold.
I know. Everyone kept texting me talking about, I see you on Toyota everywhere. Like before trials, even before I even made the Olympic team.
Yes.
They were showing my face on the Toyota ads everywhere. So I hadn't even become like the Olympian yet. So there was definitely a lot of pressure. And for me in 2021, like coming from Harvard and not having any, medals or having made any USA team, it was just a lot of fun for me. Like I was going out there and running and no one had any expectations. So I was having a great time. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go line up next to Allison Felix. Let's go see what happens. It'll be great. And then as soon as I made the Olympic team, it changed. And then as soon as I got a bronze medal, it changed. Now suddenly people are talking about, okay, if you don't medal, now, that's an L, right? If you don't make this team next year, that's a big L. And so it immediately changed my mindset. And then even going into this year, I'm going in as a favorite. And I was telling people before I even stepped up to the line for my prelim, I have never felt this type of pressure before in my entire life. I mean, you walk out there and you're by yourself. Like you don't have a team to take that loss with you. If someone messes up, there's no redo, there's no next play, there's none of that. It's like, all right, you're gonna go out there by yourself in front of 80,000 people, and then the millions of people watching at home. And if you don't get it right in this one moment, especially in the short sprints, it's over. So it's definitely a lot of pressure. But for me, I practice I meditate. I practice focus. So if you can dissociate in that moment, that separates the good athletes from the great athletes. If you're over there on the line thinking about how many people are watching you, you're going to mess up. And you can see it in people's faces when they line up to the line. You can tell when you're watching an athlete, you look in their eyes and you can see okay, this person has figured it out. They're about to knock this race out. And someone who's scared, and they're like, all right, they're going to have to fight for this.
Are there any more world records that the Americans can get? Will you guys challenge that 40.82 that the women ran in Beijing? Is that possible? Can we see Sid and Femke Bol lower that 50.65 in the 400-meter hurdles for the women? Will we see Karsten Warholm, Rai Benjamin? You have Alison Dos Santos. We have Samba from Qatar. Will we see anybody go up on the world record in any of the remaining sprints? American.
I think so. I think definitely. I think y'all are going to have to open up your wallets a little bit, because I do think we're going to see a couple of
Gabby,
records coming.
Whoa! You spending our money, Gabby.
I hate to say it, but I do think. I think the 4x1 girls, we can definitely challenge a world record. The previous world record team, they spoke to us just last week about it, and I think we are very capable. And the hurdles, it's a wrap. It's a wrap tonight. I don't know if it's going to be Femke or Sydney, but I think it'll definitely go down. Somebody's
going to have to run low. If Femke beats Sid, she's going to have to go low 50, maybe even sub 50. Sydney is I'm talking about in great form. She's in great shape. Yeah. She's a flawless. Yeah. She can run. She can run she can run the hurdle, the low for the women, and be good. Her technique is so flawless. She has tremendous strength. Coming into it, that 22:07, that's still the 8th or 9th best time run at 200 meters. She's run 48.75 at 400 meters. She's probably, if she run a work at it, get a start right, she might be sub 11 at 100 meters. In order for, and I know Femke is unbelievable. She ran a blistering sub 48 split on the anchor leg. We've seen her win the world indoor at 49.17, but Sid is a different, this is an upset. I don't care what anybody tells you. Yeah. If Femke Bol beats Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone in the 400 meters hurdles, this is a huge upset.
Ain't happening. Ain't happening, Captain. No, sir. One thing Sid gonna do, like you said, it's all about moments. And whenever that moment arises,
always been good.
She shows up to the occasion.
Yeah.
Always shows up to the occasion.
That's one thing. Bobby, the one thing, if you go back and study Bobby Kearse's history, his runners at big meets, they perform. If they line up, they run well. And that's not the shortchange Femke, because she's been unbelievable. I actually kind of want to see that thing come down in the 400 meters, the 4x4. I want Sid and Femke to get the baton at the same time. Nice. And let's see what happens. Let's see what it's really about. Ocho, I told you we're going to try to make this thing the real Olympics. We're going to have people that actually participated in the Paris Olympics. And we're going to have former greats. The guy that's going to talk with us for about 45 minutes today is a former two-time world champion 200 meters. He's a former 4-time champion the 400 meter. He was a former world record holder at 200 meters, at 300 meters, at 400 meters. He's still the current American record holder at 300 meters and 400 meters. And he ran the anchor leg on the world-breaking world championship 400 meter relay team of 2 minutes 54:29, Mike.
There you go.
He's a 2-time Olympic gold medal in 400 meters. He's a 1-time Olympic champ at 200 meters. He's the only man to successfully defend his 400 meter crown in back-to-back Olympics in 96 and 2000. And he's the only man currently to win the 400 and the 200 in the same Olympics. One of the greatest sprinters in the history of sprinting, arguably the greatest sprinter in American history, Michael Johnson.
What's going on, guys? Bro? Good to see you both, man. Good to see you. I haven't talked to both of you guys in a while.
Mike, when you hear the accolades, 4-time world champion 400 meters, 2-time world champion 200 meters, a 2-time Olympic champion 4, Olympic champion 2, back-to-back. Nobody in the history, the game's been going on since 1896, and we see some young guys come in and they win the 400 early in their career at 19, 20 years of age and can't replicate that. You did it later in your career. Why has it been so hard for men and women to repeat? I mean, it's more common in women repeating, but why has it been so hard for men to repeat the 400?
It's a difficult event, man. It's difficult for people to get consistent in that event. Like, you will see somebody come out, run 43 seconds, become a 43-second meter, 400-meter runner, but then you'll see them in some races running 44 high, 44 mid, not consistently under 43 seconds. The 400 meters is one of those races where you need to be consistent in order to deliver that type of performance when it counts at the Olympic Games. And what happens is you have somebody run the Olympics, they get it right then, and then if you see them in those races outside of the championships being very inconsistent, running 44 highs and that sort of thing, then there's a likely chance that when they get back to that next championship, they're going to run worse, not better. It's just the way that it goes. You have to try to get consistent with that event. It's a really difficult event to run because it's such a long sprint. There's a lot of room for error. There's a lot of ways to make mistakes in that race. It's hard to get it right, easy to get it wrong.
How different is running a 400 as a 2? Because we understand 2 is half the distance of 4. But what's the difference? Because you kind of started like at a 200. You won the first world championship at 200 meters in 91, if I'm not mistaken, and then built up, and then you got the courage to say, I can do both. I can, in the Olympics, boy, do you know what kind of brass kahunas you got to have to say, I can beat the world's best at 4 and 2 in the same?
Yeah.
It's probably never going to be done again on the men's side, Mike.
So a couple of people have tried since I did it. Nobody even tried before I did it. You couldn't even, the schedule wouldn't even allow for it, so I had to get them to change the schedule. But yeah, I started as a 200-meter runner, but when I was at Baylor, I was on the 4x4, and I was always splitting 43, so I knew I could run 400, but like in college, you can't really go back and forth between the 2 and the 4 very much because you're always preparing got to qualify for nationals, you got to get ready for conference, indoor, and then the same thing outdoor, and both of those seasons are pretty short. But I knew I could run the 400. Then when I started my professional career, I was primarily 200, but I was running 400s at meets on the Grand Prix circuit, and I was running low 42s, ranked number 1 in the world. But the first couple of championships, like that 91 championship, like you talked about, Shannon, so I chose the 200, made the team in the 200, won the world championship in the 200. But I'm sitting there in the stands, and I'm seeing Antonio Pettigrew win the 400 meters. I'm like, I've been beating him all season. I should be the world champion in the 400, but I can't run the 400. Now somebody else is world champion. So I was telling my coach then, like, I want to run both. And coach was like, yeah, we can do both. We just got to get them to, work out the schedule for us. So over time, that became, my thing. I'm going to go to the championships. I'm going to run both the 2 and the 4. Nobody had done that before. The races are very different. The 200 meters is an all-out sprint for most people. There's, some of the guys that's 100-meter runners that's don't have that type of speed endurance to be able to hold it. They can't run the whole thing. But if you come from, like me, like having a 400 background as well, I can run the whole thing. So the difference, is there's less room for margin for error in the 200. You may be able to make one adjustment in that race because it's so short, 19 seconds. Whereas in the 400, you can make all kinds of adjustments. The problem is there's more room for error in the 400. You can make a lot of mistakes, and you probably will. Whereas the 200, it's much more technical.
In '93, I think that was the time that you guys broke the world record at the world championship in the 400 in the 4x4. Andrew Bowman led it off. I think he ran split 44.5. He passed to Quincy Watts. I think Quincy ran sub 43.5. He passed it to Butch Reynolds. And then with nothing to prove, Mike, you got it. You guys have got this. You already got a 30-meter lead. They hand you the baton. You go. What's going through your mind? Because that was the first time in the history that somebody had subbed 43 split in the 400 meters. You stepped on the gas. I think you ran 42.9. What's going through your mind as you're going around the track and you got nothing? You got a 30-meter lead, Mike. What possessed you to do what you did?
This is a story. This is crazy. So we broke the world record the year before, 1992. right? We just broke it by a little bit. 1992 Olympics. I ran the 200. I didn't run the 400 at the trials. I make the team in the 200. There's a debate about whether or not I should be on the 4x400 meter relay. Because I'm going to tell you, go back the year before that, 1991, my first world championship in the 200. U.S. lost the 4x400 meter relay to Great Britain because they didn't put me on that relay.
Yes. The hurdler ran down Pettigrew.
Ran down Pettigrew. You're exactly right. Chris Akabusi ran down Pettigrew. The team coach that year didn't like me. So he said, hey, we don't need Michael Johnson on our 4x400 meter relay. He didn't run the 400 meters at the trials. We don't need to put him on. We can win it without him. I'm ranked number 1 in the world, undefeated for 2 years, right? He does not put me on the 4x4. They lose. The next year, 1992, I'm on the 4x4. I got food poisoning right before the Olympics. You remember this, Shannon? We talked about this, right? So
I do.
Back then, what happened was, so I got food poisoning, didn't make the final in the 200. They like, we still need you on the 4x4. I'm like, man, I'm not even. I'm a shell of myself. I can't even run that fast right now. They're like, a 75% Michael Johnson is better than anybody else. So let's go. We need you on this relay. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So my split in 92, when we broke the world record, I was the weak leg on that relay. I was still, remember, I lost weight. I'm still feeling, I think I split like 44.9 or even maybe even 45 flat. It was horrible. But we still broke the world record. So fast forward to what you're talking about, 93, I had just won the 400, beat all of those guys. Now we coming together in the 4x4. Yeah, at that point, it's like, I'm gonna make up for last year. And then also, if we broke the world record last year with me at 45 flat, if I can put it down like what I'm normally used to doing, we're going to put this world record to a point where ain't nobody going to break it for 30 years. And that's where we are today. Nobody has still broke that record because those guys ran fast and I ran 42.9 on the anchor.
What are your thoughts on the current state of track and field right now? And how do you see it evolving based on where we are now? Because you did just say it comes in waves, it goes in waves. Do you think we are right on the right track to kind of dominate in the sport again, and maybe the 1, the 2, and obviously the 4?
Yeah, it's a good question, Ocho. So, look, the Jamaicans been taking it to us for the last 15 years. You know, I mean, you got to give them credit. I mean, this is a nation of less than 3 million people. And they go toe to toe. And sometimes, like I said, for the last 15 years, they've been handing it to a nation of 300 million people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Where else does that happen? It's amazing. That's why the Jamaican brand from a sprint standpoint is so significant. They're known around the world as the sprint capital. They got great coaches. They got a lot of talent. And it used to be back when I was in college, all of the Jamaican athletes would come to the U.S. for better training and facilities.
Right, yep.
Around 2006, 7, they stopped. They got some great coaches down there, and they started saying, hey, just stay at home. We'll train you here. And that's when you saw that explosion. So, you know, and it's just been amazing. But, you know, for us as the U.S., we saw what happened here in Paris, you know, Noah, Fred, you know, those guys. I mean, and it's not, and look, the Jamaicans have found some new talent. Shane Thompson, Oblique Seville. Those guys, they got some talent. You know, they had a little bit of a void after Bolt left, but now they got some more talent. But U.S. got some too. On the men's side, on the women's side, the Jamaicans it's been ridiculous. I've never seen a situation where they had 2 of the greatest sprinters of all time and then found another one on top of that with Sharika and converted her from a 400 meter to a 100, 200 meter sprinter. And then now you got another one. It's been crazy. That doesn't happen all of the time. So now what we're seeing is, okay, Elaine is pretty much done. Her body's just not going to be able to, her former coach even said that her body's just not going to be able to do that anymore. So she's probably on her way out and probably going to retire here soon. Shelly Ann is done. She's the greatest of all time. She's done enough. She's retiring after this year. And so this is the first time, like in this women's 200 last night, the other day, I mean, Gabby won. There was no Jamaican woman in that final. And a Jamaican woman I saw this stat the other day, a Jamaican woman has medaled in the 200 every year, every Olympic year since 1976. So it goes in stages and goes in waves. I think the U.S. is at a position where, I mean, we're always at the top of the medal table, but the events you talked about, Ocho, the sprints, a little bit of an avoid for us the last few years. But I think it's coming back. It's coming back.
We got the world record silver medal winning 4x4 mixed relay, Vernon Norwood, Bryce Dedman, Kaylin Brown, and Samir Little. Vern, I'm going to start with you. You the elder statesman here. Going into that, did you guys think you could set the world record in qualifying, or what was your strategy going in? Obviously, you want to qualify, but did you think world record was a possibility?
100%. We already talked about it like before. Once we saw the lineup and the talent that we had, we was like, oh yeah, world record gone. Because we knew world record was going to win the race anyway. So we just go out there and do our thing. I mean, from me starting it off, getting it to Shamir, to Bryce, to KK, I mean, I already knew world record was gone. So, and then we heard y'all comment about, y'all coming out with this cash. I said, oh yeah, they're coming out there. They're coming out there easy. Look. So we crossed the line. I said, oh yeah, I'm gonna hit him up right now. Tell that boy bring mama today.
Guys, did y'all know Bryce that when he got back to his room, he DM'd me about Unc run me my money?
Oh, I heard you.
Yes,
That
man DM me.
Hey, what you told him, Bryce? Bryce, what you told him, Bryce?
I don't know. That's what I'm trying to know.
Bryce is my roommate.
No, you, bro.
Yeah, I know. I said, tell him, run me a mama. Look, I heard y'all was talking about it one time on the show. I was like, man, hold up now. Let me see them boys come through their word. I'm like, them boys from around the way, so I know they gonna come through. And then y'all actually came to, I was like, damn, y'all some real ones, man. But I appreciate y'all though.
And then there's a mutual friend. He hit up a mutual friend and said, man, I'm trying to get an Unc. I don't know if he gonna see my DM.
Hey, I appreciate that. So y'all, hey, it's all love. Hey, y'all good in my hood. Y'all come down to Baton Rouge. I got y'all.
Nah, man. No, guys, we just want to show you guys some love. The crew at Nightcap here, myself and Ocho, and all of our subscribers and listeners and followers. Man, we wanted to show you guys that we really appreciate what you do, the hard work, the sacrifices, the time away from your family, the times that you don't feel like training, that you go out there and you push yourself farther than you ever thought you could. And so for us at Nightcap, it was easy because to run a world record, that means everybody contributed, everybody did their part. And we wanted here at Nightcap wanted to say thank you.
Yeah.
Not only for your effort, but for what you've given before that race, because the race is the easy part. The hard part is the training up to the race. And so from us, from the bottom of our heart here at Nightcap, thank each and every one of you.
Every last one of you.
Appreciate y'all taking notes.
Make sure y'all get some McDonald's with that money now.
McDonald's,
man, Bernie, the way Bernie hit me up, Bernie money.
Oh, no, I ain't rocking like that, man. I'm chilling, man.
He's been chasing Karsten Warholm, the world record holder, for the better part of 3 years, and he finally tracked him down. The Norwegian and the Rai. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, your 400-meter hurdle champ with a time of 46.46, Rai Benjamin.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, you have an outstanding season. You have been performing really, really well. Give us your mindset going into the Olympics. You had raced him. I think you raced him once before at a Diamond League meet, pre-Olympics.
Yeah,
and so you had to feel good because you beat him. And you had beaten him 3 times since he last beat you, I think, at the Olympics.
Budapest, in Budapest. They won Budapest last year, and then we went to Prefontaine. I won that meet. Then we went to Monaco before the Olympics. That was a big one. We were all there. I won that one. So going into the Olympics, I felt really confident. I was calm. I really trusted myself. I think mentally I was in a way different place than I was.
I could tell.
Previous years and previous seasons. So, I mean, I went in, I had the confidence, like it felt good. The energy in the stadium was ridiculous. It was actually like, I've been to a lot of football games. I've been to Death Valley, LSU.
Okay.
And I have never heard a stadium get that loud in my entire life. It was crazy.
Wow.
So it was phenomenal experience. So just I went in with a completely different mindset, and I was like, yeah, like I'm the guy to beat, and the only person that's gonna beat me is me. So yeah.
I have a question. Speaking of that race at the Olympics, did you understand his strengths and weaknesses? And did you have any type of strategic game plan going into that race and knowing what to do and when to kind of hit it, when to back off?
I think,
what was
so
your plans
over the
in general?
past 3-4 years, we raced so much. So I have seen every single race plan, every race strategy. And I think for me,
right,
the three of us are so good that very little separates us, and it's about who could be on that day, who's going to get it on that day. And I think throughout the entire cycle of the heats, semis, finals, I got dealt the right hand, and those guys ran fast like the first 2 rounds. So I knew being out in lane 8, I was going to be the one to kind of dictate what the race would look like. So in my head, I was like, all right, like I need to really push the pace, but not do too much, so I have enough to come home that last 120, 150 meters.
Yes.
When we got out, he gets out really, really hard. So he covered me a little bit. And my whole thing was, all right, just run in lane 8, like focus on your 10 hurdles in your lane, and get off that turn, like put your foot in the ground and just go. And then Coach Watts, Quincy Watts, we joke around sometimes, and he's like, yeah, if it's leaving, I'm leaving. So, we got off hurdle 7, and I was like, all right, man, I'm out of here, man. So whatever happens, happens. And I don't know if you guys saw, but like I was coming out off a 7, and I stumbled a little bit. I was running so fast that like the centrifugal force pulled me out to the outside of the lane, and I kind of like stumbled a little bit. And I think that kind of costed me like maybe 46 flat. But at the same time, like I just had so much momentum, I just kept going. So that was my game plan going in. To be honest with you, just run my pattern, do what I've been doing in the entire season. I mean, Unc, we talk. Unc will send me a message sometimes after the race, even if it went good or bad. So I mean, yeah, it was phenomenal, man. And I'm on cloud 9 right now.
Right. We had Michael Johnson on. And I remember in Stuttgart when they broke the world record in the 400 meters. They ran 2:54.29. And I can go back in my head. I know Andrew Bauman led off with 44.5, and he went to Quincy, your coach, and I think he ran 43.3, 43.5. He had it to the world record holder at the time, Butch Reynolds, and he ran low 43. The race was blown open. Michael Johnson got the baton, and he said, because we had almost broke the world record, we broke it, but I ran like mid 44, almost 45. Because I was asking him, I said, Mike, you do realize you ran sub 43 with a 30-minute lead, with a 30-meter lead. And I said, why? He said, because I didn't want to hear their miles. He said, they had talked about me so bad. So he ran 42.9. Did you think you guys had a chance going into that race? Did you think this was going to be the second fastest 4x4 in the history?
I thought we could have broken it last year. So after Budapest, like if you go to my Instagram, you look at my last relay post from Budapest, I was like, let's go after the world record next year, because we had all the pieces. Quincy's running well, V's running well. I mean, I could get on a relay and give you a really hot split. Michael Norman, he was coming back to run well. Chris Bailey, Bryce Deadman, and then we had Lil Quincy just shoot up out of I'm not gonna say out of nowhere, but like no one was expecting him to run 44 low, and it's just phenomenal. So we had all the pieces. The issue is figuring out who to put on what leg to maximize those legs. And I think because Quincy had that little tweak in his hamstring in his final, like we had to reshuffle the order, but I knew we still had the pieces because V had split 43 the
twice in the mix.
And I knew
well 3 times because he ran the mixed relay twice and he opened in the qualifier.
So V had the 43 in him. I knew Bryce had 43 in him as well too, because he was consistently running 44 lows. So I knew if Bryce lights come on, he's gonna bring that stick around because he's from Texas A&M. So he's gonna run
Right.
And it just all came down to what my leg would be. I actually wanted to run second this meet because I knew if I ran second, I would run 42.8 or 42.9 on that.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I just know second leg is the best. It's the best leg because you can, on that tangent, when you cut in, you can kind of cheat some meters if you do it right. That's why all them second leg splits were so fast. I mean, you still got to be fast to be on that second leg, but like if you do it right and you run a good tangent, like I'm telling you, you can cheat it a little bit and you can get that split. So initially, so when that happened, Coach Mike Marsh came and was just like, "Hey man, like I need a dog on anchor leg because."
Yeah, you had to be on anchor.
So
I don't know, Rai. I don't mean to cut you off, but Rai, I don't know if anybody could have held Tobago off other than you. Because you, like you said, you had a strategy. Yeah. He didn't put you under the gun because of your pace. I think somebody else would have panicked. Yeah. And if you panic in that situation, he's going to chase you down like the Great Britain did Antonio Pettigrew. Yeah. We saw Lowe, a good friend of mine, Angelo Taylor, same thing in the Olympics. If you panic on that anchor leg, because everybody got their boy dog on that anchor.
Right.
So everybody can go sub 43, could go sub 44 on an anchor leg.
They all did. Like every single the first leg was 43. Them boys came to run. Like, they really came. They were not playing around, man. They were not playing around. So,
Ocho, you didn't know this, but Rai was a quarterback. Rai, made
I played
you give
wide
up
out,
quarterback?
man. I was a wide receiver. Yeah,
my
dad said the wrong thing.
Yeah,
I played wide receiver and free safety in high school, and I was Yeah. I went.
So what? Okay. So why'd you give up football and went to the track?
Because I'm from New York. And people out in New York don't get good scholarships to go to big D1 schools. So I was like, I ran track and it was like, like I wasn't really we weren't getting good recruits or recruiters coming out to my high school because we were a small high school in Westchester County in New York. So, we had one or two guys like, go to big universities, but it wasn't like we were going to like LSU or USC or at Clemson, you know what I mean? So it was just one of those things where, that was my avenue out, and I was really good at track my freshman year, so I just stuck with it. So
you originally went to UCLA,
yeah, I went to UCLA, then transferred to US. I thought about walking on, to be honest with you, but they were like, "Yeah, you gotta give up your track scholarship because of Title IX." There's no way in hell. Like a part of me wish I played in college. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna pull a Tyreek and say like, I'm faster than Noah, or I could go catch a ball across the middle.
Yeah, how you know I was gonna ask you that? How you know I was gonna ask you that?
Listen.
Do you believe Tyreek
on the show? I'm tired of the Noah Lyles slander, man. That's my guy.
Okay, well, talk to us. Talk to us about it.
Slander. I'm not saying like I can go out and do what you guys do and catch a ball across the middle. I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to read plays and memorize stuff and go out there and put your body at risk every day. But Tyreek, you're not beating Noah in 100, man. There's just no way in hell. You probably won't even beat the top collegiate guys, man. Like
Now, when it comes to men's skateboarding, there's no one more accomplished than this gentleman that we're about to sit down and have a conversation with now. He's from Davis, California. His name, you talk about world championships, you're talking about X Games. When it comes to men's skateboarding, he is the de facto guy. He has his own Nike skateboarding shoe, and here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Nyjah Huston. How you doing, Nyjah?
Doing good, boys. Doing good.
Your first two rounds, flawless. You land some huge tricks. You're in the moment, and at that moment, tell us what's going through your mind. You got one more run to make. You're right now. You're in gold medal position. You just got one more round to go. What's going through your mind at that moment? And then the pressure, did you start to tense up? Did you start to feel the pressure?
I mean, I like to say that, I'm sure you guys feel this too, is like anytime someone is very competitive and you care, you're gonna get nervous. You're gonna feel the pressure, That's just a part of caring about what we do and having that passion for what we do. So yeah, I mean, I definitely felt the nerves out there, but I feel like I was handling it pretty well. Qualifiers went smoothly. First run in the finals, I landed my last trick sketchy, which really bummed me out because I got an 87. If I would have landed it clean, I would have got a 90. So the second run, I definitely had the pressure on me, was able to pull through. And then when it comes down to the trick section, I like to say that you go out there with confidence, but you can't ever go out there expecting to land these tricks every single try, because the stuff we're doing is just too technical and too difficult. And like so many things need to go right every time to land them every try. But it was going really good for me. I was in a good spot. I landed my first trick. I landed my second trick, which got a little bit of a low score because I also landed it a little bit sketchy. You could see that my like back foot was hanging off the board a little bit.
Okay.
But I still got a 93 for that one, so that was solid. And then that last trick, man, I was going for, it's called a switch heel crooked grind down the hubba. Hubba is a down ledge. And it's a trick that I've been looking forward to trying ever since I saw the design of the course a few weeks prior.
Yes.
The trick I've been practicing a lot lately throughout the past couple of years. And man, I felt really confident going into it. The first one didn't go so well. Second one got a little closer. And then when it got down to the third one, that's when I got bumped down from being in first to second, then to third. And honestly, I think back on it, and when I was dropping in, I got my headphones in. I like listening to house music, so good vibes, got the hype going. I felt good, man. I felt really confident dropping into it. I felt like the energy was right. I didn't feel my legs shaking or anything like that. So it's hard to really pinpoint exactly what goes wrong in those situations to not be able to put down the trick. But man, really, you can't think back on it too hard, or it'll just torture yourself, because like I said, the stuff we do on the skateboard is so technical that, like, you know, it could be your foot being in a slight wrong position, leaning back a little too much, going a little too fast, going a little too slow. There's a lot of things that come into play there. And I feel like that's something about skateboarding that's really, man, it's frustrating, because I feel like what you guys do in football, it's like you make, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you make a wrong play or a wrong move, and you kind of know what you did wrong. Yeah.
Yes,
When it comes
absolutely.
to skateboarding, man, it's so frustrating, because as you just play it back in your head, you're like, damn, what went wrong? What could I have done differently? But when it comes down to it, man, it's hard stuff we're doing out there, and it's not easy to land those tricks every try.
You've been credited with taking skateboarding from what Tony Hawk started 4 decades ago and making it more mainstream, making it more popular. What was that transition like? Because everybody knows Tony Hawk is the godfather. I mean, if there's a godfather of anything, he's the godfather of skateboarding.
Yeah.
And you credited with like, okay, it's mainstream now. We see it on television now. We see it's in the Olympics. What more can you ask for? Because it's a global sport now.
Yeah.
What is when you hear that, what does that make you feel, Nyjah?
I mean, just being in the same, conversation or compared to it all to a guy like Tony Hawk is a true honor. My first skateboard ever was a Tony Hawk board. I grew up going to some of his demos and being like, oh shit, Tony, like, even though he wasn't a street skater, he was a vert skater, he did the big ramp.
Right.
He was such an inspiration, and I guarantee skateboarding would not be where it's at now in the Olympics if it wasn't for Tony Hawk. And yeah, I've heard some people say a similar thing about me, pushing the progression and getting more eyes on street skateboarding.
Absolutely.
Because, man, skateboarding is a special thing, especially when it comes to street skateboarding, because it really is what it's called. It comes from the streets. People first started skateboarding on the sidewalk, cruising around here in Southern California, and then people started flipping the board, and then they started skating little curbs, and then they're jumping down handrails, and then there's contests, and then now it's in the Olympics. So I think that's the most special part about skateboarding is it really is so different from any other sport out there, to the point where it still feels weird for me to call it a sport, because I see it more as a way of life and, a lifestyle, creativity.
That's the gold medal winning 400 meter. He just ran the second fastest time in Olympic history. He won the gold, put us back on top of the podium for the first time in the 400 meters since 2008. That is Quincy Hall. Chris Bailey, you had it was reported that you're dealing with a little hamstring issue or leg issue, and you weren't able to run. So they led off with Chris Bailey, who handed the Vernon Norwood, Bryce Devin, and Rai Benjamin. And if Vernon Norwood, he's had an unbelievable because he's ran extremely well at the mixed doubles. And yesterday, he ran us back into qualification running 43.5. Today, he split another one. But it came down to that ankle leg. And you know you got to be a boy dog and stand tall on that ankle, Quincy. You got Leslie Tobogo, who run low 44. And you got Rai Benjamin, the reigning Olympic champ at 400 at the hurdles. When they got the baton, tell me what would have been your strategy and what did you like about how Rai played it?
No, Rai played it smooth, man. Rai knows that Tobogo's a quicker runner, so Tobogo can't really like trail him as much. But if I was Rai, I would have took him out a little bit faster and made him chase a little harder. But Rai played it smart, man. Rai had a long week. Rai's Olympic champion, so Rai played it smart. And if Tobogo would have tried him, I feel like Rai would have ran a little faster. But yeah, no, Rai played it real smart, man. Rai's a good dude.
I thought Rai didn't step on the gas because he wanted to make sure he had something left at the end. Because Tobogo ran the third fastest split that's ever been run. He ran 43.03. Rai ran 43.13, which is the fifth fastest. Only two men have ever run sub split 43. Obviously, that's Michael Johnson, Jeremy Warner. Tobogo has the third. In the 92 Olympic, Quincy Watts ran a 41, won a 43. I keep saying 41, ran 43.1, and then Rai today. So what we saw today, it doesn't normally come down like this. But boy, that's what we want to see, because normally we just run away with the thing, Q.
Yeah, we just run away with it. But I kind of seen it from the prelims and then from the go to gun that Botswana got a good team. You know what I mean? They do. It's just not U.S. just got some dogs. Botswana got a strong team, and they got like 5 or 6 guys that can run 44 mid, and 44 mid translates to 43 in a split. So we knew Botswana was going to be strong and stuff like that, but without me being on the relay, I knew we could win it just because we got some dogs too. I mean, I know Quincy Wilson, he split 47, but it's his first time being out here on the global stage, and
a lot of pressure.
He's been dealing with some hamstring injury too, but it's just like I say, it's a learning experience. But any team we put out there, I had my money on our team.
You do know if you run on that relay, that royal record might be 253. You know that, right? You know that, right?
I've been seeing a lot of comments about it, but I don't like to think of the woulda, coulda, shoulda, because I'm not that type of guy. I'm a what happened. You know what I mean? So
right.
I don't like to put myself. It's not about me right now. It's about them 4 guys that stepped on the line and ran that race and won it. So it's not about me. I won a 400. Yeah, that's cool, but I didn't step out today because I didn't feel comfortable with my hamstring. I didn't want to be tight or like have to stop running and prevent the USA from getting a gold medal. So that was just a business move and just being a bigger person, being a good teammate.
Right.
I'm curious. How did we saw the 400.
Yeah.
We saw coming off that last curve where you are. Forget that part. I need to know, how did you mentally prepare for the pressure of competing on the world's biggest stage? I just want to know that first. Then we'll get to the race and the end results.
Well, like I said, man, I don't really like talking about track. I don't really like talking like that, but I consider myself like being one of the mentally strongest persons out there. And I don't think there's no pressure on me. Like every time I go out there, it's like me racing in the small meet or something like that. So I don't feel no pressure. Like the other guys, I don't know about the other guys what they feel. I don't feel no pressure. All I feel is that I practice by myself. So when I'm out there and I'm out there grinding, I'm out there doing my meters and I'm out there doing my heels and all of that stuff and my jumps. I just feel like if I'm out there by myself, because my coach is all the way in California, Curtis Allen, and I'm out there by myself. So when I'm out there just putting in my work and doing my grind, I'm out there telling myself to like, come on, Q, let's go. You know, you got to get up, let's go. So if I don't want it myself, then nobody else going to want it for me. So it's not really a mental standpoint. It's just me, man, I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? I got daughters. You know, I'm just keeping it real with you. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I look at it like as a bills every due on the first. So I pick myself up. I tell myself, let's do it. I encourage myself. You can't encourage yourself. Nobody else can encourage for you. So it's not really a mental standpoint on how I can get myself ready. It's just that dog mentality. You know what I mean? You gotta want it yourself, man.